I'm gonna. Let's see. And then we gotta. Huh? Oh, hey guys. This is as unscripted as a video gets because I have no script. I have no notes. I have no bullet points. I have one thing that I'm going to read out a little bit later, but for the most part, almost all of this video is going to be my thoughts to my mouth. No fingers curating my thoughts into something more digestible. It's going to be kind of ugly. It's going to be stuttery. It's going to be bad. And I think that's the style that I want to go with for these kinds of videos that involve, or maybe involves the wrong word, maybe I mean revolve around my creative processes. That's not to imply that this video is unrehearsed though. I may seem a little bit curated, but that's just because there are parts that I like and parts that I don't like, and often I need to reshoot some of my audio, but that's fine. That's fine. For the most part, it's my thoughts. So, where do I begin? It's been 4, almost 5 months, maybe even pushing 6, since I've updated you guys about this project of mine. If you haven't seen the first part, I am going to be leaving a link in the description to a playlist where you can go find all of the parts of this series. Say that I upload like a part 5 or 6 in the future. You'll be able to find all of the parts leading up to the most current one in one convenient location. I'm just going to assume that you've seen the previous parts. So, yeah. Since the last time I talked to you all about this project of mine, I have made a lot of progress. I had 2 chapters at the time, I moved all the way up to 7, and then I decided that I didn't like it, so I restarted. Now I'm on a 3rd draft of my story, and I'm up to 9 chapters, starting on a 10th. That is an incredible amount of work. I went from about 30 pages to over 100 in just 5 months. And it's been a little bit slower recently. I found it a lot harder to write. Not because I'm getting lazy or I'm out of ideas, but just because I sit down and I reread a lot of the things I wrote before, and it's just a little bit hard to keep all of the details in mind. I constantly have to go back and check to make sure that I'm not accidentally retconning something that's already been established, and that I'm actually, like, following up on things that I've been building to. And it takes a long time to read your story from like a midway point all the way to the current point, or sometimes even from the beginning to the current point. That takes a lot of time. So that's what a lot of my time has been towards. It really helped storyboarding all of this out and trying to figure out plot points that I wanted to happen and like symbols that I wanted to use, because honestly, without a lot of prep work, this would have taken me a lot longer. But still, I decided that I didn't like my second draft. And you might be wondering why, what was wrong with it? There were a lot of things wrong with it. For starters, I've grown in my writing in the last 5 months. I realized that towards the end of the 5th and 6th chapters that I was writing, I was kind of showing off a bit. I lost the tone that I wanted, because I realized some things that good writers do that I wasn't doing. So I was trying to kind of do a 360, or, well, do a 180 and pivot away from some mistakes that I was making. I won't get into the nitty-gritty about that because ultimately it doesn't matter. But one major problem that I do want to get into is that I kind of ignored Agnes's voice. I made her almost a secondary character instead of a protagonist, because I realized that she is just as much of the story as Tom is. But the problem was I was making her solely a reactionary agent. She wasn't making most of her own decisions. She never had a moment to quietly ponder or think about what was happening. It was always, Tom does X, XYZ, what is her reaction to it? And so that's something that I wanted to amend. My style, my pacing, Agnes's voice, I just needed to redo a whole bunch of things. So I took the first 2 chapters, because I was very proud of them, and then I rewrote chapters 3, 4, 5, added a new chapter between 5 and 6, and then that was that. So now Agnes is a lot more vocal about the things that she thinks. Where Tom gets his initial moment in the first chapter, as I read to you guys last time, to just kind of panic and spiral, now she gets her time to be kind of reflective, Instead of solely reacting to the things Tom does, now she gets a moment to sit down and breathe. I have something that I want to share, but I think it is important that we get a quick recap of the story just so we know where we stand. The things that I have changed and the things that I have kept the same. I just want it all on the table before I share this with you guys. So, Tom wakes up one morning after a nightmare convinces him that he is going to chase his entire family and his girlfriend away. The girlfriend of which he puts up on a pedestal because he is a kind of obsessive person. He convinces himself that the only way to save his relationship is to kidnap his girlfriend and just disappear. He waits until she is out of school, in the meantime shoving everything they own into his car. He picks her up as soon as she is let out, and then he just starts driving. He doesn't have a destination. He doesn't know where he's going. He just wants to disappear. He's in a panic, but he's in a silent panic. He cannot let it show. He lies to Agnes. He keeps saying stuff like, it'll be worth it. I just want to do XYZ. I have a surprise for you. And she goes along with it because she figures something big is going to happen. She figures if he is going through these kinds of lengths, there must be something in store, even if she doesn't know what it is. Tom arrives at a random field and decides that they are going to camp out in the middle of the tall grass. Agnes is disappointed. She expected more, but more importantly, the next morning, she isn't just disappointed, she is curious. She is suspicious. Finally, they get in the car and start heading home. Tom realizes he has done something unforgivable and just hopes she doesn't find out, but she is way too curious for her own good. An argument erupts. Finally, they realize they have passed the same landmark about 5 or 6 times now. They are lost. So they start trying to get unlost, trying everything they can. Finally, it gets dark again. They have spent an entire day lost trying to do anything to get back home. This is the chapter that comes after they have tried everything and they're sweaty and they're exhausted and they just want to go home. This is chapter 6. He sleeps. Such a nag for a guy, just nagging all the way through. We should at least take a look. Just a quick look, Ags. Come on, he argued. Tom, the sign says it's only 12.5 feet up off the ground. And, he asked, and what are we going to see from up there? Are the trees going to move out of the way for us? He rubbed his forehead. It's just a thought. Where's the harm in getting a better view? And I couldn't think of one, so I replied, fine. And I got out of the car, leaving it parked and the engine idling. We moved together to the edge of the street where we jumped over the ditch and climbed using the roots from nearby trees as steps. We climbed up the hill and made our way on top of the bridge that connected the left to the right. I fished my battery from the center console after a few minutes of feeling around in the dark. Now, to just find my phone, pry it from its case again, and plug the battery back in. We looked over that rusted metal casing thing, that railing, and I leaned on it. Ags, don't lean on that. It's old. What if it breaks? I shrugged and I stood back up, huffing once. My arms crossed under my chest. It had just stopped raining, and we were left staring off into the distance. The road was perfectly straight. Perfectly. If not for the earth's curve, I'd bet we'd see it all from up there. Well, if not for the trees as well. Those long trunks and those leaves that exploded at the top, like they were trying to hide the sun from us. He looked forwards and then backwards, whatever that means. Then at the cloudy sky. I can't tell which direction we're heading, and I shrugged. He looked in the direction that our car was facing, what should have been towards our so-called campsite. Backwards. I can't see, I whispered in frustration. I felt around the ceiling until I found the switch. I flicked it on and the dome light came on. He's a heavy sleeper anyways. My phone slid down my blanket and hit the floor while I was rummaging for the battery, so I pushed it aside and found it. After I put the battery back in, I held the power button, stuck, waiting at the boot screen. I looked at him. His blanket was around his lower half, and he cushioned his face from the seat with his hands. He was still. Calm, almost. I rolled my eyes and felt my finger struggle to push the light off. It wouldn't budge. Because I looked outside, through the window. It was so dark out. I looked at my phone again, still nothing yet. I just need to check my battery, come on. Well, how would I know? I asked. He shrugged. No, I just mean there's no way. If we don't make 3 turns in a row, how can we get back here? He asked, standing by the rusty metal barrier. He wanted to lean on it, but he had just told me not to, so he didn't either. He crossed his arms instead, trying to think. Like, we drove that way, and then he pointed forward. Whatever forward is, I guess, and continued. And then we came back from there. He pointed backwards, towards the field. But if we drive from there, we come from there. He did the opposite this time. It just doesn't make sense is all. Well, yeah, I know. Okay, well, we waited for the rain to stop. We looked along the sides, like you said, but there were just trees. There was no off-road, Ags. Maybe it's time to use your phone now. He started towards the other end, ready to head back down, and I followed him. It's so dark outside. It was so quiet earlier, too. That's to be expected after rain, right? No birds, no cicadas or bugs. But no crickets either? Where's the sound? It's unnatural. I turned the light off finally and looked outside. It was still dark, only slightly less so. Instead of pitch black, it was maybe like a half step below that, like a gray black. I saw the faintest hint of faded yellow lines on the road. Not much beyond that, though. Sure, the stars and the moon were bright. I mean, probably. From under the bridge we couldn't really see them, but surely that's where the light comes from. But only a little even makes it through the trees canopying us at all. I tapped a finger against the back of my phone and I saw 9% at the top finally. I breathed a sigh. As I thought, it had hardly drained since earlier. That is, if it's drained at all since then. I shut it off and I took the battery out again, hiding it in the center console. But that Google Maps idea, I knew it wouldn't work. I don't know how I knew it, but I knew it. After we got back in the car and I booted it up, the road we were on had no name. How does that happen? Someone had to have been here before, right? I mean, there's a road here. Who makes a road without naming it? Street View didn't work either. Where the hell are we? I looked out at the dark world again. I tried to lay back in my seat, take a breath, and just sleep, but I can't. So how can he sleep so soundly? Isn't this weird to you, Tom? I looked over at him. I couldn't really see him in the darkness. There's not enough light shining in here anymore. I swallowed once and I rolled away from him, closing my eyes too. How could Google Maps fail? For over 30 minutes we drove. We must have looped 4 or 5 times or more than that, less. I can't remember. I wish I'd counted. The blue line updated, pointing us right to our house, right at the end of the road. We should just take a right, drive 1.25 miles, turn left, and so on. But we never even got to a turn. We never had the option. I watched the line shrink in real time. I zoomed in on our street. I watched our car approach the turn, but then it stopped updating. I took my eyes off of it for 1 second. 1 second. We could see the bridge in the distance. And then I looked at the map again, and it said we were back at square one. Poof, just like that. What the fuck, I said? And then I went again. God, it is dark. I held my phone up over the wheel so I could monitor it the entire time. I eyeballed it. 20 miles an hour, 15% just then. Jesus, I kept driving. Take your next right, it said. Thanks, I know. I squeezed it. I can't waste so much battery. 14 already, I sped up. 30, 40. Ag, slow down. I can't, I answered. I don't have a lot of battery. I can't just waste it. Well, then let me look at it, he nagged. No, I've got to see it too. He didn't reply for a minute. Well, maybe then I should drive. You look, I drive? No, just... I waved him off and I kept going, just a little closer. The car inched towards the turn on my screen. It started turning right, but I wasn't. I wasn't turning right, so how was it? It's too cold. A buffering circle appeared on the screen, then updated our position. Poof! Just like that! Back to the start! I clutched my blanket and took a breath. After that failed, I took my battery back out and I hid it away. The sun was starting to go down now. We had completely skipped lunch, I guess. We were hungry. We were silent for a while, and we shut the car off to think. Ags, how about we just eat, go to bed, and then we can figure this out tomorrow? We'll call somebody if we have to. I didn't want to spend the night in the car. I was already getting hot. I rolled the window down as we made another sandwich each. We ate and drank some more lemonade and water, and now I can't sleep. I'm so tired, but I can't sleep because it's so dark. How can he sleep at a time like this, so calm, so quiet, like we're just out here saving money while on vacation, like this is at all normal? But he's not even scared. He's unbothered. I clutched my knees closer, curling in my seat. My stomach felt uneasy. I felt it in my throat. It was like he liked it here, in the car, in the woods. Or maybe here where it's cold at night, humid during the day, the middle of nowhere, lost. And on top of that, he dragged me out here, with no idea where we were going, with no planning, with everything we owned, and without telling me anything. And the bastard is sleeping. He's sleeping. How can you be sleeping? We can miss one day, he lied. It's echoing in my head. It's driving me crazy. And it's so dark. It's darker with my eyes open than closed. We can miss one day, Ags. Well, what about 2? 3? The rest of our lives? I felt my breathing turn rapid, uncontrolled. I huffed and I sniffed, trying to control myself at all. Am I really lost out here? Like it would have never happened, huh? Are you enjoying this, you psycho? God, I just want to go home. I just want to shower. I want to turn in my essay. I want to put everything back and email my professors apologizing for missing class, tell them that I was just sick and just go on with my life. I pushed my hair back. I clutched my blanket. It's so cold. Are the doors locked? I reached over and I felt around for the button on the armrest of the door. I found the button and I clicked it, ensuring that the doors were locked. I'm sure no one else is even out there. We hadn't seen a single car all day anyways, yet I can't help but feel so small. I closed my eyes. I tried to sleep, but I wasn't tired. I was exhausted, but my eyes didn't want to sleep. Because my stomach hurts. I wanted to wake him up. I wanted to tell him, just take me home, but I can't do that. Because he won't talk to me. Why won't he just talk to me? Every question I asked, he had a premeditated answer, like he had rehearsed it. That or like he had gotten lucky. I'm just tired. I just want coffee, he lied. Because I want to surprise you, he lied. This will be worth it, Ags, he lied. But I don't know what scares me more, that it was all a lie or that none of it was. What if it was just a terrible, terrible little idea? What if it was just a terrible, terrible idea, an attempt at spontaneousness? Am I just lost with a total psycho or a total idiot? Either would be terrible. So why can't he just talk to me? Why can't he just make it clear? I've got to think, and I've got to fix this. I've got to fix this because if I don't, no one will. Shit. So yeah, that's chapter 6. I think this chapter does everything that it needs to. I can't believe that I was missing a chapter like this in my second draft. Because this is vital, I think. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It does everything it needs to in the shortest amount of words possible. It feels real. The stakes are set up. But as always, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Does it linger where it shouldn't? Is the style there? Does it build the intensity that I want it to? Is the voice unique enough? Anyways, I think that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all for watching, tuning in. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Stay tuned. Bye.